Make sure we're good to go. Okay, housekeeping here real quickly. Hakohin is in travels. He's out about doing the necessaries for him and his family. So he has a pre-recorded lecture that we're getting ready to fire up in a minute. But before we begin to do that, I want to leave you with something that's going to be with my lecture, so you can begin to think about it, meditate on it, and be a participant later in my bit of the lecture. Is just here's what I have for you today. Shabbat Shalom to you, Rabbi Zachariah, and up there in the Dallas area was we had a bit of nippiness down this way in Little Mexico, San Antonio, but now we're getting back to resuming our regular schedule over here, and which is much sun and much fun in the sun over here in San Antonio. So we did have a little bit though. I was really happy to get some cold weather, a little change in the seasons, which was great. But the question that I have for you all, in your no snow, Atara, no snow. Now, I did hear some friends of mine that kind of live in what we call the hilly part of San Antonio, the outskirts. They did have some. My sister lives in Killeen, Fort Hood area. She had some. She sent pictures. I told her we were still in shorts down here in San Antonio. She found that quite amusing. But, yeah, that's what we get here. And of course, the in-laws in China, my goodness, they getting it over there. They getting a lot of snow and things like that. So I get pictures from China as well, which is awesome. I tell you, the 4 seasons, it's real. Okay, yeah. As students of human nature, Mishpah, and in your 6 days of labor past, how many of you came in contact and had conversation with just anybody? Any of you? Put up a capital C. If you just had a conversation, could be a stranger, could be a relative, friend, family member. You just striked up a conversation. As social creatures that we are, and students of human nature, I'm pretty sure a lot of you just weren't in your bunkers just hanging out and waiting for Corona to go away, but you're out living your lives and you're doing the necessaries, and you're letting your light shine. And welcome all of you who listen via YouTube as well. Okay, here's the question that I have for you. What did you gain from your conversation? It could be a phrase. It could be something, a takeaway that you got from your conversation with whoever it may have been. Did you learn something? And if you did, what did they leave you with in the conversation? Not so much what you said, but in your listening, what did they leave you with? What was left? What did they leave you with? The other half of the relationship that you were in the conversation. What did they leave you with? So there's something to just think about. I'll allow you and afford you the time to think about it as we continue to move on, and we'll begin to we'll play Hakohin's pre-recorded lecture first, and then we'll talk more about that on the back end. But it's amazing how much you can learn from human nature, albeit the 3 P's: people, plants, and pets. How much you can really learn as you go through the journey here on this earth. And your time in this space, how much you can really learn from individuals if you're receptive and willing to learn. That's very, very important. You always, have the mindset of a student, children of Israel. Always see yourself as a child, ready to absorb whatever information that will be beneficial to you, and to delete or not receive any information that will be detrimental to you. It's very important that you understand that we must do this on the daily, so that we can have our minds clear, our hearts clear, and our inner consciousness clear, so that we can continue to meet our marks and the desires that we desire for ourselves going forward. It's not nothing about religion, but it's just about having a mindset in a state of being to where we can perform at optimal proficiency. How many of you in this room want to perform at optimal proficiency? You don't want to be weakened, you don't want to be hampered, and you don't want to be sidetracked, and you don't want to be deluged by just information that's just totally not needed. You know what I mean? Or just sidetracked by things that are just irrelevant, and just pulling away of all your energies that could be focused on those things that are truly important for you. It's almost like a computer, Mishpah, and I know a lot of you in this room have more than one. that, sometimes you have to go in there and you have to delete the trash bin, right? Because sometimes your computer can run slow, and if your computer's running slow, then you're given many options that you can go through to enhance and to optimize the proficiency of your laptops, of your desktops, so that they'll run smoothly and even run faster for you. And I tell you, it's very important that we do the same thing as well, is that we take out and we delete and we empty our trash bins of those things that really don't matter, really have no weight in your desires and where you want to go for yourself. And it's just like pulling you down, stumbling blocks in your way, and they just prevent you and they take you on these detours that you don't need to go down. But we must recognize these things going forward. And at the same time, as students of human nature and students of ourselves, is that we also must understand what enhances and helps us and supercharges us and makes us better. And sometimes it can come from pets, it can come from a bird, a squirrel, come from your dog, your cat, it can come from your fish, it can come from a person, it can come from your plant. As you talk to your plant every day and you see your plant do things that are amazing as they continue to grow, your vegetables as well, it can come from anywhere. And I would encourage you all to be mindful of that and be on guard for how Mother Earth will communicate and guide you in many different ways and be beneficial to you if you're receptive to it. That's important. And acknowledge it and give thanks for that, because believe me, all of these tools are at our disposal. We have so many tools at our disposal. We have so much aid. As people that have been given dominion over this earth, we have so much, so many arrows in our quiver. Yet some folks don't realize that. Really don't. And so I would encourage y'all, how many of you in this room have a pet? Any kind of pet? You have a pet. Put up a capital P. You say, yeah, I have a pet, Rabbi. It could be, a worm, from a worm to a caterpillar. I don't know, but you have some kind of pet in some kind of way, shape, form, or fashion. A bird, a fish, or fishes. It could be any, but you consider that thing a pet to you, to die for your responses, by the way. Pets do marvelous things for us and help us as we, supposed to be helping them. Rabbi Zachariah says, dogs and now chickens. Baruch Hashem. Yeah, it's dogs over here, Rabbi Zachariah, and now fish. Now Sean's first pet, or pets, we circulated some glowfish in the house. I tell you, they're amazing. And my wife picked out he has some glowfish. I'm telling you, they glow. I tell you, you gotta Google glowfish. They're amazing. So, and I sit there and look at them all the time and do some great meditations with glowfish. And now Sean loves his little glowfish. And then my wife picked out these little albino little catfish. They're really cool. They're albino. They're white. And they look catfish and they do the cleaning up down there on the bottom. So, Baruch Hashem. So, have a nice little collection of fish. I tell you, nice little aquarium going. It's amazing. You see, Yael 110 says, I have ants and I have ants that keep coming to visit. Does that count? Yeah, you can count them as well. Let them visit. Please don't kill them. Ants play their role. They're probably dealing with some crumbs that are found in the corner that you didn't get to or something, or just that your food smells so good, and they picked up that savor, that sweet smelling savor, and they desire to go to your bait. But you might want to kind of navigate them in the right direction. You may want to put them in a little ant farm and really take care of their needs. But ants do count. They're part of the creation here on the face of this earth, which you have dominion over, by the way. So consider these things going forward, and we'll talk more about this on the back end during my lecture. But pets are marvelous. And if you think that you don't have pets, well, believe me, you've been given dominion over this earth. So believe me, all the animals and the creatures and the plants and the people, and the animals, you have been given dominion over them. You've been given ownership. You've been given responsibility over them. So the question is, how are you treating, or how responsible are you? You know, that's something that you need to ask yourself going forward. But I tell you, in bringing up pets, I bring them up to do this. I tell you, those fish recharge me, and I bet you those chickens do for Rabbi Zakaria. They recharge me, and they recharge me in a way that Pharaoh does as well. My dog Pharaoh, he does. He's been doing that for years. You know, he just recharges me, and they give me such a peace, and you know, and I like that. You know, after being out, you know, all day long, and you go home, you want to go home to your place of refuge, your temple, and not to throw knives and not to throw dish pans, but to go there and to find peace for yourself. And however you find that peace, I would encourage y'all to find it and keep it and recharge. Find your recharge zone where you can go and get recharged. And I think that's vital and it's very important in this time, in this age, in this period that we're in, on the face of this earth, is that we need to recharge and we need to equip ourselves with the particular tools. That's why I asked you about, you know, folks that you come in contact with. Some in unawares, you just strike up a conversation and they've been beneficial to you, or you took something from that conversation and you learned something from someone else that you're going to take with you. And I think that's vital and very important going forward. So on that note, we're going to fire up Hakoi's lecture and get right into it. And but think about a statement that, you know, someone this past 6 days have left you with. A statement, a word. My HOA, my homeowners association, won't allow us to have chickens. But you know what? And I just thought of this. I have a neighbor behind my privacy fence over here. So these people, they actually own majority of the land, all of the land that our houses are built on in our little community over here. You know, this guy has chickens. He has chickens. He has roosters. I mean, he has a little farm behind my privacy fence. I can look up behind my. I mean, the guy has a farm. He has a lot of land as well. So I may go in, friendly family as well. I may go in and negotiate some terms to, you know, purchase some chickens, circulate some monies for some chickens, and then put them on his land. So there's many ways around it. You know what I mean? So don't be discouraged. Don't be dismayed. Just find someone that has some land. Find someone that already has some chickens and say, hey, you know what? I'd like to get such and such amount of eggs for my chickens here, and I'll circulate whatever monies is necessary. But do you mind just allowing me to, utilize, you know, your area to nurture my chickens as well? So there's many ways around it. So always understand that as well. There's so many different ways that you can bite that apple. There's so many different ways that you can get and fulfill and meet the desires that you want to do it. You know, whatever you can think of, that's how many ways there are. And there's many thoughts out there. All of you have thoughts. And you continue to have thoughts and more thoughts. So there's many different ways to get to the end game. The end point to where your desires are met, your mark is met, and you continue to move on. So we're going to fire up Hakoi's lecture now, and then I'll come in on the back end, Mishpah. Let me know if you guys are having any issues, if the lecture recording, the pre-recorded lecture is not coming in. Please let me know, and I'll make the necessary adjustments to make it happen. But here's Hakoi's lecture. Shabbat shalom to you, Mishpah, and shalom shalom to you as well. See you on the back end.
Shabbat shalom, Mishpah. This is Rabbi Simon Alsha from the East. I am going to pre-record this lecture because on the Shabbat night, I have some guests that I need to attend to, and by the time you guys come along online, it will be, you know, way past our Shabbat evening time, and so I have to deal with those guests. Therefore, I've decided to pre-record this and hand it to Rabbi Kefa so that he may play this lecture on Shabbat. Now, if any questions arise from this lecture, I am more than happy to address them the following week, or you can also email me at shimon63@yahoo.com, shimoun63@yahoo.com. Now, the Parshas this week is going to be Parshas Vaera, which is the book of Exodus, Shemor, chapters, starts with chapters, let's have a look. Chapter 6, verse 2, and to verses 9 to 35. So that is the book of Exodus, which goes as follows. And Elohim spoke to Moses, and said to him, I am Yahweh, and I appeared to Abraham, to Yitzhak, and to Yaakov as El Shaddai, which means the mighty power, but by my name, Yahweh, was I not known to them. I have also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan, the land of their pilgrimage in which they were strangers. Okay, so we will come back at that and have a close look later. But before we do, I wanted to give you perhaps, discuss the techniques that we've done in the past, and discuss going forward, and discuss what is possible, and if you guys are doing the techniques the correct way, whether you're having difficulties, and so on and so forth, so that to brush you up on the perfect law which comes out of the Torah. And then of course is represented, you will find parts of our law. Ours isn't the only book which writes about it, but then other books that come later, they also write about it, but probably in different wording. They have different types of wording, like the New Testament uses its own wording, which Christianity predominantly uses. We then have subsequent religions after that, which also have wordings which are representative of what I would call the law of manifestation, the perfect law. Now, this is probably the only channel, the only YouTube channel, or the only Pal Talk room where we actually discuss scripture in light of what God wants to do for you. In other words, God is here to bless you abundantly. God is not a demagogue, and is not the type of God that is presented in institutions of religion, where God is seen as a demagogue, where he will punish you and send you to eternity in hell, or maybe in some paradise that these people have invented for themselves. And I say it again, that these are inventions of men. They are not facts and truths of Scripture, because they're not spoken about in Scripture in such a way. So hence why religion, or at least institutionalized religion, has used these for centuries. The concept of heaven and hell, simply to scare people to submission, and at times to kill them, at times to threaten them, at times to keep them psychologically low, and given them this glimmer of hope that if you do the right thing, but right thing according to who? Not according to God, and not according to the writings in the Torah, but according to that church or that religion's institutions, denominations, or whatever that religion is, according to that religion's agenda. Meaning that you have to be a servant to the religion and to its agendic cause. You are not a servant to the Creator God, because you never presented the truth of God ever. It's glossed over. It's spoken about to collect charitable donations. It's spoken about to erect buildings. It's spoken about to mend church roofs, build bigger churches, but it's never spoken about to better your life. So ultimately, This is a fact on reality now. And you will recognize this as you look around yourself, and you don't need to take my word for it. Just look around yourself in the world, wherever you are, and look at the beautiful church buildings that have been built, beautiful mosques, beautiful cathedrals, beautiful temples, beautiful synagogues. Just look around and you will see institutionalized religion everywhere. Now look at the families that visit those places. And I, for one, have visited families that visit some of those places. And I can tell you, it's not a pretty sight. When I visit those homes and I see suffering people, it is not a pretty sight. Now, Jesus of Nazareth, Yeshua, he did not come on the scene to erect a new religion called Christianity. But Christianity is used as an institutionalized religion the same way as anything else to suppress people. Whether you call it Judaism, whether you call it Christianity, or whether you call it by some other name, all these religions are simply there to institutionalize their agendas. And if you don't follow their agenda, well, as much as in Christianity, as much as in any other religion, you are not seen a good person, you're seen as a sinner. They class you as a sinner, and they class you as wicked, and then they will use that to not only class you in that category, but sadly, you will find that the parishioners of that temple, of that church, of that mosque, of that, synagogue, what they will do is they will demonize you as an evil person because you did not follow some pre-laid agenda that the forefathers of these places had established. And that has absolutely nothing to do with God's real message and intent. This is why when I spoke to you from the chapter of Exodus chapter 6, what did I read? And Elohim spoke to Moses, Musa, and said to him, I am Yahweh. And I appeared to Abraham, to Yitzhak, and to Yaakov as El Shaddai, the mighty power. But by my name Yahweh was I not known to them. Now let me ask you, how many people today across the world, in churches, in other places, how many of these people know God? How many know God? It's a question that you need to ask your children, maybe your families. How many of you know God by name? Now, I'm not talking about the pronunciation of names, that, what does Yud-He-Wah-He pronounce as. I'm not talking about the fact that, where I am right now in the East, people will call God Allah. There's nothing wrong with that, actually, calling him Allah. Why? Because, as you know, one of our preeminent scholars, a Gaon, who was a teacher in Iraq, he's known over here by the name of Al-Said. And Said bin Yusuf, did you know that he called God Allah? Wherever there was the wording Yud-He-Wah-He in the Hebrew, he translated the Hebrew Bible into the Arabic Bible, the Torah, translated it, and the prophets. And wherever he found the word Yud-He-Wah-He, you know what he translated it as? Allah Ta'ala. That's what he translated as, Allah. So he had no problem with it, and I don't have no problem with it either. I'm talking about Sadia Gaon. He was called Sadia in the West. Ibn Sayyid Ibn Yusuf over here, by the way, Sayyid Ibn Yusuf over here. So, if he didn't have a problem, he was a biblical scholar, eminent biblical scholar in the Middle Ages, why would I have problem? So my point isn't to say to you, well, what is God's name? Is it Allah? Is it Bhagwan? Is it, Jesus? Is it something else? Those are the things which are used by religion to divide people and destroy your lives and to control you. Well, you might say, well, they're not destroying our lives. Well, maybe they are not, but they are controlling you. And if you don't think a divorce is destroying somebody's life, then I think you need to think again. How many families today, and I can name a few families in our midst, who simply got divorced, wives, spouses got divorced from their wives simply because they could not accept the message of the Torah and they wanted to be in church and accepted the message of the church institution. That was enough for them to destroy their homes, file court cases, and leave relationships which were 20, 25 years old. Deep, long relationships with their children. They didn't care about their children. They were 12 years old or 15 or 16, and what would happen if a father is out of their lives? They didn't care whatsoever. They simply cared about the fact that they wanted to be part of the church institution, and they saw their husbands, if the husband said, I want to follow the precepts, I want to follow the laws in the Torah, they said, you're wrong. No, you can't. Not with me around. I'm out of here. So the real intent and message of God has been suppressed throughout ages. And God is trying to benefit His people. God is trying to bless His people. And God does not see you by color of your skin. He doesn't say, well, if you're brown color or black color, I love you more. And if you're white color, I love you less. To God, everyone is equal. Man, woman, child. Because He created them all. So here we are trying to understand what God's true intent and message is. And if you think God's true intent and message is that we start to destroy our families and start to sell our homes and start to migrate to Israel, then you are fairly mistaken still. And there are people like that today. I met them 4 or 5 years ago when I went to Israel, back in 2016. 2014, I went to Israel. I met people like that. Rabbi Kefa met people like that, who are still today brandishing the same message. Sell your homes in America, discard your passports and come to Israel. And they have, over there in Israel, they have 3rd and 4th class status. They're not liked. Israel doesn't want them. But my point isn't to debate politics over here. I'm not here to tell you about politics of Israel and America, or politics of Pakistan and India, or politics of Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. I am here to tell you that God's intent and purpose and message. God's intent and purpose and message is very simple. That God is here to bless you all. All those that follow God's laws and precepts, He is here to bless them. He is not here to judge you by your color. He is not here to throw you in this imaginary hell and burn you for the rest of your days, your soul. And He is not here to put you in some, imagined paradise up there in the, 7th skies in space somewhere, where, we're sending rockets to, ferry loads to erect space stations, and maybe beyond those space stations, if you think there's a paradise that, is waiting for you, that you have to suffer the entire life that you have to suffer. That's what some people are taught. You have to suffer in this life to get the next better life. So they give you this glimmer of hope that you have to suffer. And when you suffer, it will purify you. That is the lie that many people have believed. And many people have walked with those lies pretty much most of their lives. And they have found that they have got nowhere with that. And if all you do is look forward to your death, to the day you'll go to paradise, then I'm afraid you live a very sad existence. Because your paradise and your hell, if you want to call it a hell, is right over here in this earth. You can make it a paradise, you can make it a hell. And if you want to see scenes of hell, then you can just look at the American Capitol, what happened a few days ago in the American Capitol. Scenes of hell. I call those scenes of hell. Because a group of people believe that the country is being overtaken by communism. Another lie that has been brandished on right-wing channels, right-wing news channels, and everywhere else. Sadly, people have died. Sadly, many people have got injured. Because when you follow lies, ultimately lies have no legs. And they will come out as lies. And if you are a mature person, if you were a 10-year-old kid, and I told you that, and you didn't know what to make of it, and you thought, well, what I'm telling you about this, Chinese taking over America is true, then sure, you might be afraid, because you don't know. But if you are a mature person, an adult, and you believe that, then you really have to question those people's intelligence, because God has made everybody intelligent. And it's not that God made people some more intelligent and some less. God equally made every person intelligent. It is up to you to exercise your intelligence. And there we have it. The same way, the perfect law that is illustrated in the Torah is all about blessing. There is no curse. And the curses only come, which I can only deem as unblessing, that only comes when we do not follow the blessings, when we do not follow the statutes to be blessed. That is when we are head-on facing curses. And we're not facing curses because God wants us to be punished and killed and suffer. We end up in that trap simply because we do not understand how to follow God's model of blessing. So with that in mind, what I did, I recorded another audio of Hebrew sounds. And the idea behind those Hebrew sounds, that you find them in the Bible, by the way, the idea behind those Hebrew sounds was to listen to them. It's about a half an hour tape, half an hour audio. The idea was to listen to them in the morning, possibly in the afternoon or in the evening, once a day, for 28 days, and then give yourself 2 weeks break. And then repeat them again and see how your life unfolds into miracles. See how you bring miracles into your life. And I have many testimonies of my students across the world who have been running the previous meditations I put out, and they have reported miracles in their lives. Incredible miracles. And incredible miracles will follow. And why do incredible miracles follow? Because God wants to bless you. So the very first premise in 2021 that you should take upon yourself is that you need to remove the concept of heaven and hell. Because this will become a stumbling block for you. Because if you follow institutionalized religion and you follow these concepts, not only will you be misled, but you'll mislead your children and families that you sit between. And you'll be like everybody else then who suffers in this world only to hope for a better next world. But we're not here for a hope world. We are here for manifestations that happen. Real manifestations. Genuine manifestations. So we don't do hope manifestation. We do real manifestation. That would mean that, if you are desiring to have a house, you get a house. If you're desiring to get a job, a great job, you get a great job. If you're desiring to get a great car, you get a great car. And it's all in the making. It's all up to you. You do not have to go to any institutionalized religion and knock on their door and ask a pastor to pray for you. Well, yes, maybe as a group, they might pray for you as a group, and maybe they'll add some power. So power to you. But I'm saying that you need to make that decision. When you make that decision, it'll automatically come to you. But what are the methods? The methods are actually simple. I've given you the Hebrew sounds, which will activate different areas of your brain, which will bring about these manifestations. And I thought I will tell you something today which will help you further to activate your third eye. In the past, in order to activate your third eye, what probably is known in the western side as the pineal gland, in order to activate that, I told you in the past that one way was to put turmeric powder, wet a little bit turmeric powder, half a spoon, yellow powder. You put it on between your eyebrows, about 5-10 minutes, let it dry out, and then it'll just fall off, or you can wash it off. And that usually helps to activate your third eye. Now, what's happening with a lot of people today, they're having problems with manifestation, not because they are bad people or because they're evil or they're going to hell and things of that nature, which are total outright lies. What actually happens is that their third eye is calcified and their third eye is not activated. So one way to do that, a really good way to do that, other than the turmeric, is for you, especially those of you who live in sunshine places, like America, Australia, New Zealand, south of France, those kind of countries, is to come out in the morning when the sun rises in the east. When the sun rises in the east, you can come out in the morning and you can face the sun, close your eyes, face the sun, and let that light hit your forehead directly. The more heat you get, the better it is. Do that every day for about a week in a nice sunshine environment, and that will open up your third eye. It will decalcify your third eye. It will activate it. It's very, very powerful. Now, you may find yourself in dismal places, and I said dismal places with the respect for England, where there's hardly any sun during this time of the year, and you might find it's always cloudy. Well, you may have to pick your days and find when the sun comes out, you may want to go into your garden and then look up on the sun, and it doesn't need to be done in the morning. It can be done in the afternoon when the sun is, up there, risen up and set. So I'd encourage you to do that. Now, I have never tried, you have these beds, like these beds where people go to get tanned. I've never tried that, but maybe, I'm saying it's a possibility, that maybe if we have a bulb, a strong bulb, like a lamp, like one of those lamps that you put on your table or bedstand, maybe you could place that lamp and you kind of face the light directly on your forehead, and you look at it and you close your eyes and you let that light glow onto your forehead, and it gives you heat. I suggest that may also open your third eye. That is also a great possibility to open your third eye. And I'd encourage you, people who live in England, Scotland and other places where the sun doesn't come out so much during this time, I would encourage you to do that. You use a table lamp with a bulb that has some heat behind it. And I can definitely say that will help you. And I'd like you to report back to me. Write back to me and let me know that that has helped you, so that we can then pass this information to other of our listeners, so they too can benefit, because not everybody has the benefit of sun. I mean, I here in the East have the benefit of the sun. I could just go out in my garage and just stand and look up and, I get it straight to my forehead. No problem. Even at this time, I mean, it's sometimes smog out there in the morning. It's foggy in the morning, but then the sun comes out and all you need is 5 minutes. That's all. So I highly, highly encourage you all to do that. If you're finding it difficult to bring in manifestations, it's not your fault. It's not because you're doing something wrong. It may be that you have a calcified third eye, pineal gland. You need to uncalcify it. So the other way is the turmeric powder. And maybe you don't want to put the turmeric powder on and have yellow, a yellow singe on your forehead. Maybe that's the other problem. Maybe you have to go to office and you're going to show a yellow forehead to everybody. Or maybe you have to wear that bandana like Rambo to cover up your yellow forehead. So that's an idea. The idea is to use a lamp. And you can buy these lamps in Amazon these days. And one other idea is a great idea, is that we have the 7 main chakras of the body. And the 7 main chakras are the crown chakra, we have the third eye chakra, we have the throat chakra, and they're associated with different colors. So one great idea is to get a lamp from places like Amazon, which comes in different colors. It can display red, it can display blue, it can display yellow, and those kind of colors. And one good idea might be to in order to strengthen your chakra, like let's say that your heart chakra is weak for some reason. The color is green, and you have this lamp that you light up and the color is green, and you sit and you just stare at the lamp, and all you're doing is staring at a green color. That green color will help to heal your heart chakra. Likewise, if you have other chakras that are weak, the different colors will help to heal those chakras. So let's run through these chakra colors so that you're aware of what's what. Normally, for the crown chakra, the color that is illustrated is purple, but I would probably more myself with my the testing that I have done, I would say it's not so much purple, but it is pink. Pink is the color for the crown chakra. And so get a light bulb, pink color light bulb, or a pink color something, like it could be only a bottle, it could be something else that's pink color, and then you look at the pink and it heals, it vibrates your crown chakra. The third eye chakra is indigo. And if you look at the indigo color, that benefits your third eye chakra. Your third chakra from the top down is throat chakra. And the throat chakra is blue. I already spoken about the heart chakra being green. And the solar plexus chakra is yellow. The sacral chakra is orange. And the root chakra, the Muladhara chakra, is red. Now, to come back to these chakras and to speak about, what color stones they are. Well, the crown chakra, which I will suggest to you, is pink. And if people tell you it's purple, then that's fine, because you might find their own website being purple. I haven't found that to be the case in my examination. The stone for that one is the amethyst. You can also use the quartz crystal. The third eye chakra stone is again the amethyst, and the black obsidian stone, which some of you wear on your bracelets. The throat chakra is the aquamarine, or the lapis lazuli stone. You may have seen the lapis lazuli, slightly bluish color, or the turquoise. That is the throat chakra. The heart chakra is the green calcite, or the tourmaline, the green colored tourmaline stone. Remember the tourmaline stones? They take away the negativity, they take away that radiation in the air, that's broadcast by your routers, by your laptops, by your phones. They can negate it. Jade can also be used for that. And the solar plexus one is the tanlite stone, or the citrina. Remember the citrina stone that we use for the gold? The citrina stone. And the sacral chakra is the carnelian stone. But some people can use a sacral chakra, they use the orange, because it's the color orange. They use citrine as well. The root chakra is red, so it's the agate stone. Some people use the black tourmaline for that as well, or the bloodstone, or even tiger's eye will work for that too. I would go so far as to say, that's for stones, but I would go so far as to say for stones, you could potentially use even the chandan wood, which is a red color, and you could use that obviously as a mala, as a rosary, and that would work perfectly well for the Muladhara chakra, because it is red and it works perfect. And somebody asked me about charging the beads. And of course, as I instructed to you, that you get the coconut water, you get a fresh coconut, you break it, take out the water, and use that to dip the rosary, the mala, as you call it, dip the mala into that, and then let it dry, and then just wash it a little with clean water, and then let it sit in the sun, if you have any sun or any kind of light. If you don't have sun, then you can put it in front of a lamp. If you have sun, then put it out into the light for about an hour, and that is ready charged to use. That is the way to charge your malas, your rosary beads, the 108 beads, and they will be perfectly fine after that for use. Now, I wanted to bring you back to the passage, which is, kind of been so confused over the years, where it says, "And I appeared to Abraham, to Yitzhak and Yaakov as El Shaddai, the mighty power. But by my name, Yud-Heh-Vah-Heh, was I not known to them." Now, see, over here, a lot of people argue that, Abraham did not know the name of Yahweh, and he only knew him as El Shaddai and all this. The only problem with this is that's just, again, for those people who are into the names groups, they want to pronounce the name, and they'll tell you, Abraham didn't know the name, but that is not what it's talking about, whether Abraham knew the name or not. Abraham did know the name. It's talking about, but by my mighty power was I known to him. Meaning what? That my manifesting power is what I revealed to Abraham, and that's how he understood me. You can call out all the names of God you want. You can call out all the names you want, different names of God. El Shaddai, Hashem, Yahweh, Yehovah, and other names, God, Lord, etc., etc. But what's the point? If nothing changes in your life, what's the point? So it is not talking about him knowing the four-letter word or knowing how to pronounce it. It's actually talking about manifesting power. That Abraham knew God through the manifesting power. That yes, my God is real. And that's exactly how you are going to know God as well. You're not going to know God because you went to Jerusalem and you were praying at the Western Wall. You're going to know God when you manifest through His power. And that is the entire point of this exercise. Those verses in Exodus chapter 6, they hinge on that. It says, and Elohim spoke to Moses and said to him, I am Yud-Heh-Wah-Heh. And I appeared to Abraham. Then it says, I have also established my covenant with them. So not only did Abraham use the manifesting power through the perfect law, but the covenant was established to give them blessings, land, and rights into the future for his children. But see, when we read the word I am Yud-Heh-Wah-Heh, or I am Yahweh, we all like to think that, oh, God is declaring His name over here. God is not declaring His name over here, what His name is. What God is doing is declaring His power. Because these four characters, Yud-Heh-Wah-Heh, they have sounds. And behind the sounds is a power. And that is what God is saying. So, try to get the understanding in the correct context. And if you do, you will do well for yourselves. It is not about how many times you attend churches, or which denomination you went to and how many medals you got from those denominations, or which synagogues you were part of. It's not about that. It's about having a clear intent, a clear desire to write what you want. Have a little notepad and make that notepad for your affirmations. And you can write your affirmations in a phone. You can write it in a laptop, which is easier. But when you write it in the notepad as well, you know what you're asking for, because that is your intent. That is your intention. That is your desire. And you follow that desire. So when you read those affirmations daily, you know what you're asking for. When you're saying you are perfect health, and you're saying in the present tense, I am perfect health, or I am prosperity, then you know exactly what you're asking for and what you want in your life. And it is through God's power, the God that is with you. It is through His power that you will achieve those. Then you shall know the Lord. That's what that actually means. Then you will know God. You will not know God by reading religious texts. Look, many of us have read religious texts and none of us found God through the religious texts. Most of the people's experience of finding God is outside of the text. So you need to come out of that deception, that, you read the Bible and you find God. Hardly. God's experience, God's existential experience will come to you when you're outside of that book. Because God doesn't live in the book. He lives within you. And when you exercise that power through your conscious and subconscious, when you make that connection with God, then God will declare Himself to you through your manifestations that will happen. And then you will know that you have a relationship with God. So I'm going to leave it to this, and I'm going to pass it to Rabbi Kefa. And I wish you all a great Sabbath and a great happy week ahead. And I will see you the following week when we shall have our new president on the throne in America, Mr. Joe Biden. And I wish him every success in the coming presidency, because I expect to see great things being done in America that I wanted to see earlier, but unfortunately politics is a dirty game and we didn't see a lot of those things happen. So I do expect to see a lot of good come out of this presidency. And as for me, I'm a Kohen. Whoever is the president, I am for him. So, out with the old, in with the new. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Take care of yourselves. Have a great week ahead. Shabbat Shalom. Shalom Shalom.
Todah Rabbi HaKohen, again, for great instruction, wonderful lecture, guidance, instruction, and direction for us all going forward as we continue to move on, Mishpachah. That's what we must continue to do. This Parsha is really the bedrock for, where we understand now the relevance of who we are as a people. I tell you, many times I've read through this particular part of the Parsha, seen movies about Pharaoh and the Hebrews and what they were subjugated to and with, and the rigors and the harsh treatment that they endured as a people. And I never really got the understanding. I didn't understand. I saw it superficial, like, okay, man, these people suffered, man. How in the heck could such a people be subjugated to so much, torture and torment and just harsh treatment? But then when you look world over in the history of the world, you see people, that being done to people world over, right? It's not just the Hebrews that this happened. I mean, there's recorded incidences all over the world where people are subjugated to, a harsh life. America, for those of you who are in America, how many of you in America, put up capital A. America is very, very young, Mishpachah. How many of you understand that? America is just a very, very young country. I mean, what? 400 years, come on, man. America's very, very young when you look at the history of this world. America's just a baby. But when you go through history and you look at history, for those of you who are on YouTube as well, or history buffs, you'll see that people have been subjugated to harsh treatment, through rigorous treatment of a fellow human being, one to another. And what do? You just shake your head. You shake your head to these events because, they really did happen. America, we can talk about, when you want to talk about, what's equivalent to what happened to the Hebrews, the closest thing that we can come to that is what? The American slavery movement. And America having slaves and plantations, and the slaves being the backbone of the prosperity of America because of what was produced on these plantations. It really propelled America to, high places, Baruch Hashem, at the expense of the torture and treatment of individuals. So, we must look deeper, not to discount what happened in history with certain, can anybody give examples, students of history, of in other countries of people being maligned and put down and ostracized and treated as less? I can think of one particular people that this is happening to. Anybody else know of any other people besides the Hebrews that this has happened to? Let me give you one. Okay, yeah, the Jews, yeah, we got that. We're talking the Hebrews, Devorah, but anybody else? Any other particular race or group of people, culture of people? I can name one. How about the Rohingya? How many of you know about the Rohingya people? My goodness, they are being ostracized. They are being killed and hunted down. Anybody know the story of the Rohingya people? My goodness. I see this is history being played out right before our very eyes. They're not being accepted. They don't have a home. They're told they're not wanted in particular countries. And you sit there and shake your head like, what the heck is going on? The Rohingya people. My goodness. See that happening to them. And you can go through history and find it as well. But you'll find that a lot of this, they want to bury it. They want to put it down. They want to water it down to make it seem like it's just yeah, it's history, but yeah, we moved on from there. But the question is, have you learned from it? And you see in many different cultures and civilizations that they haven't, and that you see, like my father said and told me about the bell bottoms. I'm gonna just hang on to them because I know history gonna come around and repeat itself, and bell bottoms are gonna be popular again, and the butterfly collars are gonna be popular again. So I'm gonna just hang on to these clothes. I don't want to give them away. I'm gonna hang on to them. My father said, he told me that. I was like, wow. And you'll see that in history a lot, that history will come around and repeat itself. Why does history come around and repeat itself? One of the main reasons why is because, the humans in history have not learned the lesson. This is why the lesson must come around once again. And they haven't learned from the lesson, so they don't recognize when history is repeating itself. They consider it a new event when it's really not. It's just history repeating itself. Why? It's because humanity had not learned the lesson. So for us, bringing it full force back to home, for us as the people of the books, is very important that not only we read our book like some kind of storybook, that we learn the lessons that our patriarchs and matriarchs left for us to learn, that we learn from them. And so this is why when I look at, the plight with the Hebrews and how they went in, rich, and then into Egypt rich, and then not all of a sudden, they're facing the rigors of life and having a rough time at it. And so you ask yourself the question, why? Yeah, Devorah, now that's a good one. The Native Americans, Devorah, you brought your A game. That is totally a good one. Look at the Native Americans. My goodness. These guys and gals used to own all this land that we could call what? North America? They owned it. They owned it. And then now, what are they subjugated to? Some plotted off real estate that we call what? Reservations today. When they were, at one time, their ancestors roamed free and taught many things to foreigners who came here from abroad. And yet, now they're subjugated to, I guess you can call it a reward system. Or would it be called a reparation type system? And then on top of that, reservation. So you got the two R's. You got a reservation on top of some reparation. And that's supposed to kind of gloss over and make everything just fine and dandy. But again, yeah, that's part of history. So you have to look at history for what it really is. And don't try to sugarcoat it and cover it up, but see history for what it really is. Now, here's the question. Did they learn from it? Was there any learning from it? Well, I submit to you not, because then later on came what? Came the slavery in America, which they tried to use. How many of you know this in history? They tried to use the Native Americans to fill the role of the slaves, but the Native Americans didn't work out. They considered them too lazy. They wouldn't do it. They were too stubborn. You couldn't shake them with fear. You see? What a strong people Native Americans are. Any of you have Native American blood in you right now? I submit to you, probably a majority of you do, you just don't know it. I submit to you, you do. I truly submit to you that Devorah says, Chakra, Baruch Hashem. Native Americans are some of the strongest people you ever want to meet. Physically, mentally, emotionally strong. And they're very devoted people. I've taken care of a baby one time. He was part of the Kickapoo tribe here in Texas. And he was next chief to the throne. He was next up, but he had a lot of health problems. He's just a baby. And he was already seen to be the next chief. I don't know what ended up happening with him because I stopped taking care of him. But I took care of him one time. And this guy, this little baby was, he was on a ventilator, and, he had a tube in his stomach. And he was next in line to be the chief of the Kickapoo tribe on that reservation. They call it the Reds. On the Reds that he was on the reservation that he was on. Because I remember we would have to take him to the Kickapoo reservation so that they can, when they would have their important meetings, he would have to be there. And so I found it very, that was a great experience for me. Great experience for me. That's as close as I got into the Native American side of things. But yeah, you're right. Y'all want to attend another great one, apartheid. My goodness, let's talk about apartheid there in South Africa. You can go down to the land down under. How many of you ever been to Australia or desire to go to Australia? You can go to the land down under. Our Aborigines brothers got a bad trait down there as well. The Aborigines people, my goodness, the inhabitants of that land. I mean, the blacks and browns down there that inhabited that land before, colonialism came in and took that part over. I mean, colonialism, my goodness, that's a story for another day, right? But again, colonialism came in down there and took them over. So to double your responses, so you can go through history and see, has humanity learned their lesson? I submit to you not. Because we continue to see these same subjugations happen over and over and over to a race of people based on color, based on, whatever it may be based on, social economic status, greed, ambition, whatever it may be. And so, this is what you'll see that goes on in the world as well. Y'all want to say India did too, as well as in the East and in different countries. Yes, that is so true. And this is all history. This is history that a majority of it isn't taught in schools. They won't teach you about this stuff. Slavery, I can remember being taught in school, just not in detail, but it was mentioned when I went to school. Now, these days, I don't even know if they even mention it, slavery that happened here in North America. But it was taught. Y'all want to say everywhere the British Empire expanded. Oh, indeed, colonialism. I tell you, it's not all what it's chalked up out to be, and people are harmed and in the process. Colonialism wasn't fair and just for the most part. As a whole, it wasn't fair and just. And at the end of the day, the Creator of the heavens and the universes, He seeks fairness and justice for all. And when that's not taking place, then you'll see the mighty hand of the Most High come in and do things. And that's what happened to our people. And so let's read it. Let's open up our Parsha. Vaera. This is a very important Parsha. Very, very important. Because what you're going to see here is the formula for success and for miracles to happen. It's laid out here. I couldn't get to the formula because I was distracted, or I was at the level of understanding of just looking at the atrocity and just trying to figure out why the heck could one people do this to another people? What? And with envy, pride, jealousy, all those negative forces, the negative energies that come in. Some people call them demons. But I call them just negative forces. This negative energy that can come in and affect the individual in such a way to where he will do things that's inhumane. But people want to point the finger and call it a demon, when all it is it's an emotion, it's a feeling that begins to subdue an individual. So if you want to call anybody a devil, call a person that's doing these type of behavior the devil. You understand what I'm saying? You see, because that's what happens. You see, but everybody wants to point the finger at somebody besides themselves to take responsibility. So they'll blame it. What was that song? Blame it on the rain. They'll blame it on the rain. They'll blame it on the devil. They'll blame it. They'll rebuke the devil when the problem is them. And so the demon never goes away because they never deal with themselves. So the demon is just always there. So as they call it, the demon. When it's only the characteristics, it's the character trait. But they don't want to deal with that side of it. Yahweh Woman 10 says fear. That's one of the big ones. That's one of the big ones these days, especially here in North America. Fear is running rampant here in North America. Fear. Fear of a vaccine, fear of a virus, fear of a takeover. I mean, just all kind of. I mean, come on, man. And if you let that in, then you let that into your house, and you receive these negative forces, then you become demonic yourself. You become possessed. I mean, how the heck you gonna storm the Capitol building? These are some demons, man. Come on, man. I mean, insurrection? Come on, man. There's no time for all that. There's a rule of law. I mean, these people can't even uphold the rule of law and order. How are they going to be able to even understand a perfect law? Can't even get to that point. So you just let them continue to act out. Because, and I always tell this to my daughter, but I got to keep repeating it, and I will continue until the cows come home, is that every action has a reaction to it. Always remember that, Miss Paul, that every action has a reaction to it. Remember that. Remember that. That's sort of on the same lines with karma. It's how you do people, how you treat people, is that same treatment is going to come back to you. Your actions will have a reaction to it. When and why, how it's going to happen, I'm not at liberty to tell you those things, and that's outside of my scope of practice. I'm not here to do all that, but I am here to tell you that this is perfect law stuff. That every action has a reaction to it. So we must be mindful of our actions, so that we can anticipate positive reaction and not negative. But it hinges not on them demons, no, it hinges on you. Well, how many of you heard this saying, well, the devil made me do it? No, the devil didn't make you do jack. You did that on your own. You took that action. So, we must be mindful of these things going forward. So let's open up this Parsha, because, there's a pattern here that I see here that's totally awesome. And I never really saw it before because, like I said, I was on the surface. Now I'm beginning to peel away at the layers of understanding, Baruch Hashem, that I can begin to see things for, the seeing that I'm supposed to see right now. Where I am and where I am in my now state. Let's keep reading. I'm going to go a little bit further than how Cohen did, because I think this is so vital and so very important for the family and for all of you who listen via YouTube and what's that other forum now? I very seldom get on it, but it's the YouTube, and then it's the big one. Everybody's on it. Why do I want to say PayPal? That's not it. But it's Facebook, to for that Chadasha grace. It's the Facebook one. Everybody wants to show their face in the place. So those of you listening via Facebook, this is very, very important stuff when you want to get to the grits and greens of having power, coming from the power. Baruch Hashem. Let's look at this. Exodus chapter 6, start at verse 2. And Elohim spoke to Moshe, to Moses, and said to him, I am Yahweh. And I appeared to Abraham, and to Yitzhak, and to Isaac, and to Yaakov, and to Jacob as El Shaddai, the mighty power. You and I both have power. It's because we have the same DNA as powers. So we must have some kind of power. Now, how we utilize our power is up to us. But by my name, Yahweh, I was not known to them. Look at verse 4. Again, I read from the Abrahamic-Faith Bible, the Hidden Truth We Break Scrolls. You don't have this Bible, please get it. You'll get great commentary that'll assist you and help you understand the true essence of the Torah, the true essence of what the God of Israel is saying to all of humanity. Baruch Hashem. Look at verse 4. I have also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan, the land of their pilgrimage, in which they were strangers. Baruch Hashem. Now we get into covenant stuff. See, this is the bedrock of everything that we do and say, and our very being. It's the covenant. This is the very covenant. You see, the people are in turmoil. The people are being ostracized, are being demoralized, are being just faced with all kind of rigors. The people, my people, as said many times. I think it's very important we understand that. Understand the condition, the environment that we're in, the environment that our forefathers were in. And just as more so important that we need to understand the environment that we're in. It's very important that we know our surroundings, and our surroundings know us. You've been given dominion over this whole world. Don't limit that dominion and close yourself in. But be a participant, be a partaker as a light shiner to your nation, to your world, to your neighborhood, whatever it may be, Ms. Farhad. It's very important. I have also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan, the land of their pilgrimage, in which they were strangers. Look at verse 5. I have also heard the groanings, the groaning of the children of Israel, whom the Mitzrim, the Egyptians, keep in bondage. I am mindful of my covenant to bring it to pass. Baruch Hashem. And I would encourage you all today to start dancing like David on Facebook, and on YouTube, and in this room. Because to this day, I is still mindful of his covenant to bring it to pass. So, at the ground roots and at bedrock level, Ms. Farhad, know the covenant. Know what rights you have within the covenant. This is perfect law. The covenant is the perfect law. This is perfect law stuff here. So, you must know your rights that you have within the covenant. Can anybody name one of the rights that they have within the covenant right now? You all should be dancing like David. Because the powers of Israel is still mindful of his covenant today in 2020. January what? 16? Come on, man. Still mindful. I'm going to give you one of your rights of the covenant right now. Your right is to be blessed. There you go. Your right is blessings. Be blessed. Do blessed. Are blessed. Now blessed. Right now. That's your right. Ya'el 1:10 says, I have a commandment. I have a commanded blessing upon me. You see, that's one of your major rights that you do have. It's blessing. It's wealth. It's protection. To die for your responses, Ms. Bahar. It's peace. It's joy. It's infinite abundance, man. Know your covenant. This is baseline. You got to know your covenant, man. You got to know what your rights are. Rabbi Zachariah says protection. Oh, indeed. How about let's throw a little rescue in the mix in there too. Know your covenant. So when you get low, you start feeling down, you YouTubers, you Facebookers, you remember these things. This is the covenant. This is what you under. This is the umbrella. Yeah, that rescue. Rabbi Zachariah talks about that healing, Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem, y'all 1:10. No, what I'm talking about, happiness. Another day in paradise, right now. Always, Mishpahah, invoke the covenants. When you at the lowest of the lows, and believe me, our forefathers were at the lowest of the lows. I mean, they making bricks. You know what I'm saying? They being tortured. Young ones being killed. I mean, they having a rough time of it on the face of this earth. You see? But what is brought out? What is the master of all things begin to reiterate and begin to put in the minds of the people is don't forget the covenant. Because I haven't. He's saying, I'm mindful of the covenant. I am mindful of my covenant to do what? Not only being mindful of it, but we're going to make sure this covenant come to pass, Mishpahah. Everything that's said within our books is going to come to pass according to the covenants. Not everything going to come to pass according to what Hagee say here in San Antonio, or what Kenneth Copeland telling you, or Jesse Duplantis telling you, or whoever else is out there these days. What's another Texan? Another one of them Texans I'm missing. Or the guy there in Houston. He got the big church there. I can't remember his name, but whatever these guys telling you, listen. What they telling you, don't put no water and no weight on it. because it's just mere words. And I guarantee you, 99.9% of the time, they cannot bring it to pass. But the powers of Israel can bring it to pass. Don't only be mindful of it, but how are we going to bring it to pass? You see, how many of you, Joel Osteen, to know that TGJ, that's another one, Obi, there you go. We can go down the list, down the rabbit hole, right? All these men and women, they'll tell you that they got the fixer elixir, and yet it's just, when you open it up, it's nothingness. And you drink from it, it's bitter. That's what we're dealing with, Mishpachah. So, always, man, I get so excited because now we're talking about the covenants, man. I get goosebumps. You're talking about the covenants and what the covenants have already promised you. And believe me, those covenants are still alive and kicking today. Because the God of Israel is still mindful of the covenants. And not only is he mindful of them, he's going to bring them to pass. Baruch Hashem. So the question is, what's in the covenants? Because I need to know what's in the covenants so that I can invoke it. And so that it can supercharge me and give me the strength that I need in my time of being down, in my time of sorrow, in my time of weakness, in my time of being vulnerable. When I feel like, because look, listen, at the end of the day, Mr. Bahar, we all human beings. And how could a people go into Egypt so strong and then turn out, to be so weak and be subjugated? You got to think about that for a minute. I mean, the Hebrews went into Egypt rich, with riches, and with fame and notoriety. Then all of a sudden, now they slaves. How can that happen? How can that happen? Students of human nature. How can that happen? Doesn't matter how it happens right at the end of the day. The only thing that we need to cling to, and you see the formula being, the pattern being played out. The God of Israel is admonishing the people, the leadership here. He's telling them, look, let me bring you back to the covenants, because that's where the buck stops. I'm mindful of my covenant to bring it to pass. Look at verse 6. Therefore say to the children of Israel. Now, what are you going to say to the children of Israel? Because what they say to the children of Israel then is what they say to the children of Israel now. And I will tell you right now, and I wrote this down, Rabbi Benia, if it was good enough for Moses, then it's good enough for me. How many of you affirm that statement as well? If it was good enough for Moses, then it's good enough for me. I'm telling you, I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it again. Because it's something about saying things 3 times. If it was good enough for Moses, then it's good enough for me. How many of you affirm that? If you affirm it, say it right now in your living room, wherever you at. If it's good enough for Moses, then it's good enough for me. I believe that with my very being. So then Moses was told, look at verse 6, therefore say to the children of Israel, I am Yahweh, and I will bring you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians. And I will do what? And I will rescue you from your bondage. And I will redeem you with an outstretched arm and with great judgments. Baruch Hashem. Look at verse 7. What is it? I tell you, this is good stuff. This is great stuff. And I will take you as my people, and I will be your power. And you shall know that I am Yahweh, your power, which brings you from under the burdens of the Mitzrayim, of the Egyptians. Now, here's the question I have for you this day, Ms. Bahar. It's an important question. How many of you right now are dealing with a Pharaoh? How many of you have a Pharaoh right now? Think about this for a minute. You Facebookers, you on YouTube. How many of you right now dealing with a Pharaoh? Because this lecture is for you. If you got a Pharaoh in your midst right now, what is? Well, Rabbi, I don't have an Egyptian in my midst right now. I don't mean in that instance, like, literally. But I mean, Pharaoh comes in the point of someone who is stopping you from getting to where you want to go, what you want to be, who you are, who burning you down. That's the Pharaoh. Pharaoh is alive and kicking today. Believe it or not, Pharaoh is alive and kicking even today in 2021. Holding you down, preventing you, deterring you, all of the negative forces. At least they are trying, but they can't stop me. Oh, indeed, Baruch Hashem. But you need to realize that the Chinese have this saying, you got to take the yin with the yang, because that's what it's all about. You got to be able to recognize Pharaoh when it comes to you, because Pharaoh come in real subtle. Because it brings me back to the question that I asked you earlier, family, with our forefathers, the Hebrews. Is this, it's how the heck you going to go into a country with riches and fame and fortune and given the best land, and then all of a sudden you're a slave. You know how it's done? It's done real subtle, isn't it? It's done with trickery and just real subtle. It doesn't happen from one day to the next. It may take years for this plan to play out. You see what I'm saying? Real subtle. Real subtle. A Torah says, I did, but I got out from under it. Baruch Hashem. Invoke those covenants. Yael 110 talking about mine don't even come subtle. Oh, that's even better, Yael 110. If they come to you straight up and say, I am Pharaoh, hear me roar, then you say, I am eagle and watch me soar. Baruch Hashem. That's from M. Hokmah. So somebody take that and make some lyrics and make a good song. If somebody come to you and say, I am Pharaoh, hear me roar, then you come to them and say, I am an eagle and watch me soar. Because I'm going to soar high. I'm going to fly right over you. I'm going to fly right, you underneath me. I'm going to fly right over you. Right, Torah? Underneath you. They underneath you. They're not on top of you. They underneath you. Baruch Hashem. There you go. Simba says, what is the demon is in all people born? Desire to receive for the self alone, the selfishness. Oh, indeed. Indeed, Simha. Well said. Without the desire to share. Conquer by humility. Conquer by humility the gift from yourself to the I am, a witness of how religious beliefs broke up a congregation in California. Divorces and passports tossed and left for Israel were all were stranded. Oh, indeed, Simha. I witnessed that with my own eyes when I went over there. I witnessed that with my own eyes. These people over there, and they wanted to go back to America, and they can't. And believe me, they live in like fourth-class citizens, and they got them living in like these little ghetto areas. And I'm like, man, you guys left America for this? But that's what happens when you make your own rescue, and you don't let that mighty right hand do it. You see, the covenant says the mighty right hand is going to do it, right? That outstretched arm going to deal with that. I don't need to go manufacture an aliyah. That's not what I need to do. Matter of fact, I don't need to manufacture anything. Why? Because according to the promises, according to the covenants, I'm a manifester. Wow, what a lecture. Manufacturer or manifester? Right? Yael 116 says, I can show you better than I can tell you. Oh, indeed. Oh, indeed. And that is the pattern of our people, is that our actions speak way more louder than our words. My actions go before me 10 miles before my words going to come at you. And that's how we go about examining human nature, not by what people say, but by what people do. So very important. So we see the covenants being invoked by the Most Highest, by the powers of Israel. And he's telling them in our books. Let's continue on. Look at verse 8 of Exodus chapter 6. And I will bring you into a land which I swore to give to Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. And I will give it to you as an inheritance. I am Yahweh. Oh my goodness! Now, like I told you before in previous lectures, if you don't know this, get excited and jump for joy as well. If you say you don't own any real estate, you are, let's just say, you are totally not in the covenants. Because the covenants just said you own real estate. I told you all a couple of lectures ago, I told the families as well, listen, if you don't understand that you real estate owners, you own real estate. See, now this brings to mind a question. If the powers of Israel, with all the great things that's recorded in books and in history about what he did for a people that he chose and called his people, and he loved, and that he loves, and if he's going to give them land as an inheritance, what does that tell you about some kind of heaven mumbo-jumbo? When these people are promised by, the all-powerful God of Israel, all the things that the God of Israel could give his children, what does he give them? He gives them land. He doesn't give them a promise of a heaven. Is anywhere mentioned the promise of a paradise or a heaven in there? Man, that should raise up dreadlocks and make people's hair stand up straight. Like, wait a minute now. Is that a power? The powers of Israel is giving his children land for inheritance, and not land in space that people are already buying up. By the way, you know people are buying up space. They're already starting to buy it up. They're buying up space, Mishpah. I'm like, wow, my goodness, what this world coming to? But this land that we're inheritors of is land on this earth. So where's the earth going, Mishpah? If we promise, now we got to go back to the covenants now. See, you got to understand, to keep things straight, always fall back on the covenants, then you're safe. Because if you get out here and start listening to this, what I would call pig water that's out there, you start listening to these fake drug salesmen. They're gonna put up a good tent, and they're gonna give you a good lip service. But at the end of the day, there's no substance behind it. At the end of the day, there's no results behind it. But I guarantee you, if you invoke the covenants, if you fall up underneath and you accept and you embrace the covenants of Israel, that not only are you going to see results, but you're going to receive results now. You don't have to wait on the results. You don't have to wait till you die to get some results. Your results going to happen right now, because your heaven is on this earth. Why would we be given inheritance of land on this earth if earth was going to be destroyed by some Halley's comet, some comet asteroid going to hit it and blah, 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 blah. What was that movie with, man, I loved watching this movie with Bruce Willis in it, when they went up, and Ben Affleck, remember when they went up and they had to deal with this asteroid because it was going to hit the earth and blah, blah, blah. That was a great movie, Mishpah, but I guarantee you, there is not going to be an asteroid that takes out the earth, because then that negates our covenant, doesn't it? How many of you believe the covenant just like you believe you can breathe? How many of you believe in the covenant of Israel? The covenant that was made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. How many of you believe in that? I mean, you really got to believe it. You YouTubers, you got to believe it like you take a breath. You Facebookers, you got to believe it just like you breathe. It's got to be that's how you got to believe it. So when all these negative forces try to come at you, and doubt is one of those negative forces, it try to come at you and then it make you think, well, wait a minute now. Is this really true? Is this really going to happen? And maybe I'm beginning to doubt. Oh, man, if you begin to doubt, oh, my goodness. Then it negates you being under the umbrella of the covenants. Because the covenants cannot, and doubt cannot live together. They just cannot. And so what you seeing in this formula here is that the powers, the almighty powers of Israel, is beginning to formulate and to change the minds of the people. And you're going to see that in this next verse that we're going to read right here. Verse 8 was the promises of our inheritance of land. That's in the covenant. All of you are real estate owners. How many of you say it right now? I am a real estate owner. I am real estate. You say it just like that. I am real estate, because you are. You are real estate. And your real estate, if you desire, don't only have to be in Israel, by the way. You can have real estate wherever you go. I have real estate in China. I have real estate in America. I am real estate. You are. If you're part of the covenants, don't negate the covenants by saying, well, Rabbi, I'm not real estate. Then you negate the covenants. Because the covenants tell you are inheritors of land on this earth. Now, if you have doubt and you believe that the earth is going to be destroyed by an asteroid, then you're a negator of the Torah. You are a negator of the covenants, Mr. Bahar. How many of you want to be Torah negators? I know none of you don't want to be that. And then you question and you wonder why. Well, why am I not manifesting anything in my life? It's because you're negative. You're an antagonist to the covenants. You can't do that. You can't be negators of the Torah and expect miracles in your life. No, that's not going to happen. It can't happen. And expect peace in your life, but you've negated the very covenant where peace dwells, where peace resides, where peace makes its home is within the covenants. Rabbi Zachariah said, this earth is forever. And it's here forever. You're right. It truly is. It truly is. Now, do I want to get out there in space and take some trips out there to Mars? I would love to do that. But I gotta make sure it's a two-way. I gotta come back, you see. Because I got real estate here, man. I wouldn't mind going visit. I go to the moon, visit, stay on the moon for a little bit, come on back to Earth. Because I realize that I'm a real estate owner. And I got land rights, man. And I'm not giving those land rights up for some cockamamie story out there. Or like President Biden says, for a bunch of malarkey. I'm just not going down with malarkey. That's pig water. And I don't drink it. May be good for the pigs, but it's not good for me, Miss Baha. So here we go. Here it's setting the stage. Now here it goes right here. Now, the reason why that the powers of Israel had to set this up and say it to us in this way, of course, all of you fired up right now, you understand, man, yeah, I am part of the covenants. I am the covenants of Israel. Those covenants of Israel are me, and we are one. But look at verse 9. This is the reason why. And Moshe spoke thus to the children of Israel. Verse 9 of chapter 6 of the book of Exodus. And Moshe and Moses spoke thus to the children of Israel. But they would not heed Moshe because of anguish of spirit and cruel bondage. You see what happened? I'm looking at 2021. It's the same formula. You know why people can't come back into the fold and they can't accept and embrace the covenants of Israel? They can't accept and embrace this Torah of Israel? It's because of anguish of spirit. I wonder where they get that from. Religion gives you that. Religion gives you that. And from cruel bondage is because, you know where they get that from? People taking advantage of them over the years. And you may even heard this in your study of human nature. And you associate and have relations with human beings. And people will tell you, man, they hurt me bad. Yeah, I trusted and I believed in this person and they let me down. How many of you heard people say that before? So this leaves scars on people. Believe it or not, it leaves scars on individuals. And they can't get over it. You know what that's called? That's called cruel bondage. Anguish of spirit. Oh man, I've been with this church for years and pastor said I would get better and they prayed for me, but I never got better. And you know, I feel like I feel like I'm not happy anymore. I'm not happy with myself. I did everything they said to do and it's not working. Anguish of spirit. Took your spirit and tore it up to where you're no longer a spirit as you see yourself. You're just part of a collective group. And just like our Cody said in his lecture, if you don't agree with the collective group, then they kick you out and boot you out. Because you're not going along with the stream. You're not flowing with the group. You see? Instead of you being the individual and standing on your own 2 feet. No. Your word is everybody else's word within the collective group. And if you don't agree with that, then you're ostracized, you're full of demons, you're going to bust hell wide open because you don't believe the way the group believes. Wow. Isn't that amazing? But yet here in 2020, 2021, we have the same thing going on, Mishpah. This anguish of spirit is still real. And if you receive it, it'll affect you. And that cruel bondage is still real. And so this is why when the covenants, the children of Israel, Mishpah, I guarantee you, they were taught the covenants as children. They knew about the covenants. Their mom and daddy told them about the covenants. They knew about the covenants. They knew. But yet now, these two leaders are coming in and telling them, look, this is what the powers of Israel said he's ready to do. They can't believe it. They can't accept it. Why? It's because for too long, too many years, too many periods of their life, they've been subjugated, and they only remember the recent. They can't remember what mom and daddy told them. They can't remember. That's too far gone. It's so far gone they can't even believe it anymore. Because all they can believe is what they see now. Look, Moses and Aaron, we still making bricks. And that's just what it is. They had lost all belief in the covenants. And I'm pretty sure they were told story after story after story of their history. The Levites was teaching them and reminding them of who they are. But yet, they could not see it because all they could see was where they were now. And they totally lost belief. And when you lost belief, it's game over. But they didn't lose belief because they only believed in what they could see. And they believed that, oh, I'm going to be a brick maker for life, baby. Torah just puts it out there so great in verse 9 of chapter 6 of Exodus. But they would not heed Moshe. They would not heed Moses. Why? Because of anguish of spirit and cruel bondage. Man, Rabbi, I am not getting back in a relationship. That last relationship I was in, we ended up getting a divorce. Man, that woman just did me wrong, Rabbi. I'm never marrying another woman. What is that? That's cruel bondage. You taking that baggage of cruel bondage into you don't even want to bring it to a new relationship. You just carrying around that baggage of cruel bondage. Man, I hate women. Made me pay all this child support. All they did was trick me. There ain't no good woman out there for me. Cruel bondage. You need to dump that baggage. That's some bad baggage to be carrying around. Vice versa, same for women. Man, Rabbi, that man beat me. He beat me. He psychologically tore me down, physically tore me down, mentally and emotionally tore me down. There's no such thing as a good man in this world. Well, guess what? That's what cruel bondage do to you. Experiences of cruel bondage. Instead of what? Learning from the experience and saying, you know what? Now I know what kind of man or what kind of woman I do not want going forward. You just totally cut yourself off from any relationship. That is totally not just and it's not fair. Because what are we told in our books? That the two will become one. You can't become one with one. The two will become one. That's what our books say, right? I mean, come on. Who are you going to believe? You see, that's when you become negators of the Torah. You begin to make up your own laws instead of rolling with the perfect law. How many of you are with me this day? Stay with me, family, because we are in this together. And what we want to do is we want to make it better for ourselves, not worse. We want to move from strength to strength, not strength to weakness and more weakness. That's just not the case. We want to take 10 steps forward and 0 back. We're not trying to go backwards. We're going forwards. See what I'm saying? The selfness of the selfness ego demon, not humble to listen, to learn, and to follow the covenant. Oh, indeed. And that's what happened. Because you subjugated and your belief system is torn down to where you have a belief, you believe you're going to be a brick maker your whole life. You believe what mama and them said, you're never going to be nothing. You're not going to be successful. You begin to believe that stuff. That's why you have to be careful what you receive. Remember we talked about deleting? You got to go to that trash bin and just delete all that stuff so that your computer can run fast instead of being bogged down. You got to clean it up and start rejecting. Say, I don't receive that. My covenant tells me I'm the head and I'm not the tail. My covenant tells me everything that I do going to prosper. That's what my covenant tells me. No weapon formed against me going to prosper. You see where we going? You got to invoke the covenants, Mishpahah. But how you going to invoke the covenants when you don't know the covenants? And you don't know what your promise is, what's promised to you already. And it's not like you got to wait on the promise. The promise is now. You have to wait. Well, I'm going to read them, and then they'll eventually come. Whenever. No, it's now. The powers of Israel is mindful of His covenant to bring it to pass. Oh, it's going to come to pass. We've already been told that. It's by the almighty powers of Israel. It's going to come to pass. The El Shaddai. Do you believe, Mishpahah? But you got to believe. Belief is more than just a word. It's got to become a part of your very being. Well, man, look, I'm a real estate owner. Well, everybody around you telling, man, you ain't jack shit. You tell them, no, I'm a real estate owner. I'm a real estate owner. I'm successful whatever I do. Whatever I touch is going to prosper. I'm the head, I'm not the tail. I have rescue already. I am health. I am wealth. I am prosperity. I am peace. I am love. I am joy. That's right now. You don't have to wait on it. Man, boy, I tell you, this covenant is awesome stuff. But again, what brought the people down is the same thing today that's still bringing people down. From coming and embracing the perfect law. From coming and embracing the covenants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You know what that is? The anguish of the spirit. So, you see, in a roundabout way, what is Torah telling us must be corrected? You must correct your spirit. And you must see yourself in a better way than being cruel. Being in cruel bondage. You must see yourself in a different light. And you must fix the spirit man, the spirit woman that's within. That's excuse me. That's the subconscious. You got to awaken that subconscious. And build it up and have that relationship with your subconscious. Begin to love yourself. And the subconscious will begin to teach you as you embrace and are willing to receive and believe in the covenants. That the covenants can be real in your life. They're real. It's not a game. This is no game here. This is real. And the covenants can work in your life right now. With whatever you desire for yourself. Now, it just so happened that the children of Israel, you see, you remember up there that the almighty powers, that He said what? He says it. He says it up here in verse 5 of Shemuth of Exodus chapter 6. I have also heard the groaning of the children of Israel. You see, what were they groaning? They were complaining, man, look, they're like, look, it's not our desire. My desire is not to make bricks my whole life. I don't want to make bricks my whole life. I don't want to do that. Shabbat Shalom, Nachshon, in all your glory. Shabbat Shalom, son. A big old smile. You see, so again, they were known, they knew, God knew, okay, these people are crying. They were crying out for what they wanted, right? What are these groanings about? Man, I don't want to make bricks. I don't want to make bricks. I don't want to make bricks. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be a slave. I don't want to be a slave. Well, can we do something about that? How can we fix that? We can invoke the covenants. We go right back to the covenants, Mishpahah. We go right back to the covenants. And in that same verse, in verse 5, I've heard the groanings of the children of Israel, whom the Mitzrim, whom the Egyptians keep in bondage. You see, Pharaoh and the Egyptians today come in many forms. Anything that's going to keep you in bondage and keep you down. But what you must remember is just like the Almighty Powers remembers, is that I am mindful of the covenant to bring it to pass. in your manifestation, in your miracle working, be mindful that whatever you desire for yourself can come to pass. But you got to believe that. And you can't give up hope. Yes, you can give up hope. Matter of fact, you need to put hope in the trash. Because they tell you, well, you can't give up hope. Oh, yes, you can, and you should, and you shall. Because hope is not in the vocabulary of the children of Israel. It's just due. And if you know, I'm getting ready to close up with this, but I'm getting to just the awesome part of the lecture that Chochmah revealed to me. It's not hope for the Hebrew. You know what it is? Because if it was good enough for Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, and if it was good enough for Moses, then it's good enough for me. With the whole scenario that's being played out here, and I'm going to bring you some facts here, according to the King James Version of the Bible. You're going to find this very interesting. And this is, we're getting to the meat and potatoes of the lecture this day. Is this, in the KJV, let them go, or let my people go. In the KJV, you know how many times it's mentioned? You're not going to believe this, but do you know how many times it's mentioned? Woman of 10, you kind of clued up on it. You said it, from the age of what you said. You know how many times it's mentioned? Let my people go, let my people go, let my people go, or let them go, let them go, let them go. In the whole of the Bible, in the King James Version of the Bible, it's mentioned 12 times. Isn't that interesting? 12 times in the KJV. Let them go. Let them go. In this Parsha alone, it's mentioned, okay, let's look at, from this Parsha alone, it's Exodus 7 and 6, Exodus chapter 8 verse 1, Exodus chapter 8 verse 8, Exodus chapter 8 verse 20, Exodus chapter 8 verse 21, Exodus chapter 9 verse 1, Exodus chapter 9 verse 13, and Exodus chapter 9 verse 17. My goodness, let them go, let them go. What does that sound like to you, Mishpah? How many of you write affirmations? How many of you are scripting? Do you see it? It's right here. I tell you, it just came up to me like boom, right before my very eyes. Let them go, let them go. I guarantee you, Pharaoh, when he would go to bed at night, I guarantee you in his dream, Rabbi Zechariah, he was saying, let them go, let my people go, let my people go. Because do you see how many times, here's the pattern, Ms. Bahat, never give up, never give in on what you desire and what you affirm for yourself, what you want in this life, what your dreams are. If it don't come around from the first round, just do what? Rinse and repeat. Keep repeating it. Let them go. Let them go. The formula worked on Pharaoh, so it'll work on your Pharaoh too, whatever that may be. That stumbling block, that formidable tower that you think is there, that you can tear down, that wall that you can break and go through. Let them go. Let them go. And one of the key words that the Most High, that the Almighty Powers kept telling Moses and Aaron is to go. Go. Not hope, but to go. Go. G-O. That's what we do, Mishpah. We're Hebrews. We just keep going. We go. Oh, that's not. Go. What is that? Go. Well, you don't know, Rabbi. You know what I'm saying? Go. 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 Keep it going. Let my people go. 12 times. Quite interesting, right? 12 times. You know what I see in that? One layer of it is this. Is that he said, let my people go 12 times, one time each for every tribe of Israel. Isn't that beautiful? One time each. Let my people go. Let my people go. That's affirming right there, Mishpah. He's writing affirmations. May not be writing them, but he sure definitely is saying them. Let my people go. Oh, Pharaoh won't relent? No problem. Go back and tell him the next day. Let my people go. Let my people go. Let my people go. Let my people go. Are you with me, Mishpah? This is the formula that we're being taught by Hakoyim. We're learning it. We're learning it. It's to do what? Repeat it. 108 beads. You just keep saying them, keep saying them, keep saying them. Keep saying our sounds, our letters. Keep saying them, keep saying them. Let my people go. Let my people go. Let my people go. This is how we're going to break it. This is covenant stuff here. This is the formula right here. Let my people go. Let my people go. Go back to Pharaoh and tell him again. Let my people go. Let my people go. Man, I guarantee you, Pharaoh would go to bed at night probably saying, man, let my people go. Let my people go. In his dreams, oh, let my people go. Let my people go. He was hearing it so much. Let my people go. Let my people go. This was the key to how Pharaoh was broken. Let my people go. How come? I mean, Almighty Powers could have did any formula, any kind of way. He could have took them out the first day if he wanted to. What's the purpose in that? He's got to build it up within the people, because remember, the people were torn down. Anguish of spirit, remember? So, how do we change that? You begin to infuse the now in them and begin to infuse the covenants in them. The God of Israel said, I'm going to free this people. These people are going to be free. I'm going to take them out with my outstretched arm. Let my people go. Let my people go. Let my people go. You probably heard it in some of these churches that you were in at one time or another. They would sing that song, let my people go. I know the slaves here in America would sing that song too. When they would, let my people go. Let my people go. Let my people go. Let my people go. Moses and Aaron would go in there and say, hey, we're here again for the God of the Hebrews. And he's telling you to let his people go. Let his people go. Let his people go. Let his people go. The Almighty Powers wasn't doing this for himself. He was doing this to instill belief in the people of Israel. Anguish of spirit. Remember that? That's what he was doing. How do you recharge and establish your belief? You keep visualizing yourself with that new car, with that awesome wife, with that awesome husband, with that new house, with that awesome job, whatever it may be, with that new house. You keep seeing that over and over and over again, regardless of what Pharaoh can say no all he won't. But as long as you believe in the covenants, it will come to pass. Matter of fact, you begin to say it like this. It has come to pass. It has come to pass. It has come to pass. Because it has. It has come to pass. You got to believe it. It has come to pass. It has come to pass. How many of you with me? It has come to pass. Because it has. You're part of the covenants. This is real stuff, baby. But you got to make it real in your life. You got to make this real in your life. We see the formula laid out right here. Okay, just keep repeating. Let my people go. Let my people go. Let my people go. I never got beyond these people. I felt so sorry for the Hebrews, our forefathers. They were put up in so much bondage. Well, let's look at the formula, peel away at the layers, and let's look at the formula of what got them out. Well, they had to begin to deal with that anguish of spirit, because they had that kind of bad. In verse 9 there of chapter 6 of Exodus. And the cruel bondage, they had to get over that and realize that they're real estate owners. And they don't have to make bricks for any damn body. You see, that's how you got to get. You got to get strong with it. Because you got to know who's behind you. There's power behind you, so there's power within you. There's powers behind you. There's powers within you. You got to get to the point where you say, look, I'm not making another damn brick for anybody. I'm a real estate owner. I'm a free man. I'm not a slave. I'm free. You see how you got to get? You got to deal with that anguish, of spirit. You got to recharge your spirit. And you got to begin to repeat, let my people. I'm a person of the Most High. I'm a person of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Wow, that's powerful. You don't believe me? Keep saying it. See what happened in your life. Keep saying it. And by the way, I don't know if Hakoin had mentioned this, but if you wanted that audio, you want to get a hold of that audio that he just made, then send him an email. He'll give you that audio where he recorded all the sounds. How many of you like to get a hold of that audio? play it for 30 minutes a day or night, however you see it. Then send him an email. He'll send it to you. He'll send it to you. It's covenants, baby. Recharge the covenants in your life. The covenants are not something in the past, but the covenants are past, present, and yet to be now. And future. They forever. To top of that, y'all, woman of 10. He also posted it on YouTube. This is great, awesome stuff. Awesome stuff, Mishpachah. It's more than awesome, it's powerful. And it's life-changing, if you believe it. But more so, you don't even have to believe. But you have to just go and do it. You see, because the people lost the belief. Can you see that our patriarchs and matriarchs, the Hebrews, during this time had totally lost belief? They couldn't even believe Moses. So what do you have to begin to do? You have to begin to tell them who they are and let them tell themselves who they are. They free people. What does let my people go mean? It means you free. Let my people go, that means you free. Let my people go means you no longer in cruel bondage. Let my people go. Do you get it? Let my people go. That's going to be the title of this lecture. Let my people go. To infinity and beyond. So right now, if something's holding you up, you need to invoke that same spirit of let my people go. And then you know what you say after that? I'm gone. Go. And then just go. You see? Let my people go, then just go. Because you're gone already. You've gone beyond that. Someone mentioned earlier, yeah, I used to be like that, but it's underneath me now, Baruch Hashem, because you're gone now. Let my people go, and then go. Baruch Hashem. Right? That was the thought. Torah say, I'm gone. Let my people go. I'm gone. But for the children of Israel, it took time. It took time to get them to that point. You see, it took time. It took periods for them. You see, and this, I'll tell you, it's played out so beautifully. Because guess what? When the children of Israel were ready to go, they were ready to go, and they didn't leave empty-handed either. Matter of fact, they left how they came in, rich, right? Now we know, by the way, full disclosure, that not all the Hebrews left. Some stayed in Egypt. Because they couldn't get beyond the anguish of spirit. They couldn't get beyond that. And matter of fact, they actually loved the cruel bondage. Maybe they saw that bondage is not so cruel. But some didn't go. They chose to stay. Just like some of Israel, majority of Israel not going to come back. They're not going to wake up. But they don't need to. But they're not going to wake up. But those that are, consider yourself truly blessed, because you already are blessed. It's in the covenants. And you are just a fulfillment of prophecy. Baruch Hashem. Boy, I tell you, man, that's heavy stuff, right? It's beautiful stuff, man. I'm going to go hug my wife and my son and take the dog out for a walk, man. This is awesome stuff, man. We cannot be destroyed. Defeatism is just not a part of our DNA. So quit running around here in fear like a vaccine is going to kill you. Because it's not. You know, they've been vaccinating the Hebrews ever since. I mean, they were probably trying to do some of this stuff. When Pharaoh had a form of vaccination, didn't he? He was like, man, look, I'm going to just kill all the males. Let's just do it that way. You know what I'm saying? You see, that's what it is. The destruction of the Hebrews has been occurring since the onset. Wasn't Abraham? Abraham was running for his life because they wanted to kill him, wasn't they? They saw the star in the sky. They said, wait a minute. We got to kill all the babies around this time. So we can deal and not let that star, you know, according to what his wise men told him, will take over, you see. So it's very, very important. Very, 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 very important. Very, very wonders why we're in the middle of a lecture right now. So I think it's very, very important that we understand that, Mishpachah, that we can't be done away with. To die for that, Rabbi Zakar. We can't be done away with. Don't, like Yael 110 was talking about, don't let the character characteristic of fear come in and subdue you and think, oh, they're going to take me out. You can't take Israel out. Israel like baby kids. We don't die, we multiply. We're Israel. It can't take us out. I've been trying forever. Since the beginning of time. Since the beginning of time. Lilith made that promise to Adam. Look, I'm going to destroy your seed. Can't do it. Lilith can't do it. If Lilith can't do it, what makes you think that these human beings can do it? You can't take out Israel. We covenant people, man. We covenant people. Quit running in fear. And doing all these crazy things. And thinking all these crazy thoughts. They hold no weight. They taking up your good energy that you can utilize on manifesting your desires and your dreams. And checking off the affirmations on your list that you're scripting. That's what it's all about. Live an abundance of a life, not an abundance of fear, abundance of doubt, abundance of disbelief. No time for that. I believe in these covenants like I believe in my breathing. And I'm still taking breaths, by the way, so I'm going to still keep believing. So on that note, we'll wrap it up. But do you see what the let my people go? Do you see that? That's an affirmation. That's scripting. Let my people go. Let my people go. Let my people go. I don't care what you're not going to do this, you're going to make us do that. So what? Let my people go. Same way with you and your Pharaoh right now. You know, you may be trying to get that house. You know, you're affirming that house, but, you know, it seems like every stumbling block and obstacle that could come in the way is coming in your way. Continue to affirm that house. Don't ever give up on your dreams or your desires for yourself. Because then you give up on the covenants because you miss your mark. Yael woman says, everyone around me may fall, but I'll still be standing. Oh, indeed. I'll be standing. I'm going to be doing my little electric slide while I'm standing, too. You know, swaying to the left and to the right and all that. Doing my little salsa dance. Oh, we good. don't worry about Rabbi keeping his base. Oh, we good. We great. Because if it was good enough for Moses, then it's good enough for me. And I'm going to affirm that. I'm going to hold fast and I'm just going to hold to it. And I won't faint. I'm going to hold fast. I don't have time to faint. Don't have time to. Fainting is not in my vocabulary. I'm going to just hold fast. And I'm going to keep going. Go, go, go. Baruch Hashem. Rabbi Zakar said, Chief Kefa, I got my new house. Baruch Hashem. There you go. I'm just going to go, and go. Now go get the next one. Rabbi Zakar, whatever you desire for yourself. Chalk up that mark, give thanks, and then keep it moving. Because we live in an abundance of a life. Not a shell of life, and not, with a handout. No, we got our hands up, giving praise and thanks to the almighty powers of Israel. Baruch Hashem. So on that note, we're going to wrap it up for this Shabbat. I give thanks to all of you, my family, those of you who are listening via YouTube, and those of you who are listening live, those of you who are listening on Facebook. We're a family here, and we're all here to take care of one another. Simha saying, let's remember to have the powers of choice to choose positives or negative thoughts. Thought is everything to connect to the kingdom of Hashem. Shalom, shalom. Oh, indeed, Simha. Simha lives in the valley, but she's on top of the mountain. Baruch Hashem. So on that note, we'll wrap it up for the Shabbat. Have a wonderful 6 days of labor ahead. Go out there and make communications with everyone and relations with everyone around you. And continue on the positive road that we reside in. It's our wheelhouse to be positive. For all the negativity around us will have to go away. Have a great 6 days of labor ahead and enjoy this Shabbat with your family members, friends, and loved ones. Forever and always, Mishpachah. Shabbat shalom and shalom shalom, Mishpachah.